Bob's life was turned upside down on October 17, 2019, when he found out that his wife had been having an affair with her boss for 6 months. With a perfect storm of factors that led to his wife's infidelity, Bob struggled with his own undiagnosed post-traumatic stress disorder and depression issues. And before the story begins, I ask you to subscribe to the channel and like this video. It is very necessary to promote the channel. Thank you for this. You are very cool. Let's go to the story right now. Hi, I'm Bob. On October 17, 2019, my world fell apart. I found out that my wife had been having an affair with her boss for 6 months. Initially, I thought it was just an emotional connection, but on the night of October 20th, things took a turn for the worse. We got into a massive argument, and she stormed out, not returning home that night. This was the first time something like this had happened in our relationship, and I was incredibly worried about her. When she finally came back the next day, she told me that she had spent the night in her car in a park, needing to get away and clear her head. However, on October 24th, she finally confessed that she had gone to her boss's house and slept with him. I was devastated. It was like a knife through my heart, and I didn't know what to do. Looking back, I believe that the affair had been building for some time. The flirting and sexually suggestive messages started back in May of 2019, and from there, it escalated. They had been physically intimate 3 times, once in a parking lot and twice at his apartment. I understand that her job is incredibly male-dominated, and she often finds herself surrounded by men while at work or isolated in a vehicle. I believe that this dynamic played a significant role in what happened, but it still doesn't excuse her actions. It was her first job after taking time off to finish her degree and have our twins, and I was so proud of her for getting back into the workforce. But the pain of her affair still lingers to this day, and I don't know if I can ever fully trust her again. I'm a war veteran, and I have been struggling with undiagnosed post-traumatic stress disorder and depression issues. Things were already tough for me when my wife's affair began. In the same month, I lost my mother and my dog of 15 years, and I became a total recluse. I work from home 50% of the time and am on the road for work for the other 50%, but I rarely left the house during this time. My wife and I have a 25-year-old daughter from her previous marriage, as well as a set of boy-girl twins who were just 5 years old when all of this happened. To help us take care of the kids and manage their finances, my in-laws live with us in an in-law suite. Unfortunately, I can't stand them, so I arranged my work hours to start around 10 to 11 a.m. and would stay up until 2 to 3 a.m. to have the house completely to myself. During this time, my wife had to wake up at 4 a.m. to head to work, which meant we rarely saw each other. To make matters worse, this all happened right after my wife had a major health scare. She lost a lot of her muscle mass and gained some weight, which made her feel self-conscious and insecure. All of these factors created a perfect storm, making it easy for my wife's boss to take advantage of her vulnerability. I understand that her affair was ultimately her choice, but I can't help but wonder if things would have been different if I had been in a better mental state and if we had been able to spend more time together. Regardless, I'm now working on getting the help I need for my PTSD and depression, and my wife and I are slowly working to rebuild our relationship. It's a long road ahead, but we're both committed to making things right. Looking back on the situation, I now realize that I was severely depressed and needed my wife's help to get out of it. Unfortunately, I didn't recognize the signs at the time, and my wife also struggled with her own depression, which further complicated things. My depression and PTSD symptoms manifested in ways that my wife misinterpreted as signs that I no longer loved her. For example, I would start work at 11 a.m. but wouldn't shower or do any personal hygiene until 6 or 7 at night. When my wife came home, I would give her a very unpassionate kiss, which she took to mean that I didn't want her. In reality, I was just embarrassed that I hadn't handled any daily hygiene yet and didn't want to be in her face. Before discovering my wife's affair, I trusted her fully and believed that we were a model couple. Looking back, I can see that I missed the signs that she was depressed and cheating, and I also failed to recognize that I was depressed myself. However, I have come to the conclusion that I did exactly what I was supposed to do as a husband to trust my wife. There's so much more to this story, but that's the gist of it. I'm now working on my own mental health and our relationship, and my wife and I are both committed to moving forward and rebuilding our trust. It won't be easy, but I believe that we can overcome this together. It's been a few months now and things are starting to feel like they're getting back to normal. My wife has been patient and understanding, but I still have moments where I feel angry and resentful towards her. I know it's not fair, but it's hard to control those emotions. We've been going to counseling and it's been helpful, but I still feel like I'm not fully healed from the betrayal. One thing that's been helpful is that my wife has been completely transparent with me. She's given me access to all of her accounts and has been open and honest about everything. She's been working hard to show me that she's committed to making things work and that she's not going to cheat on me again. I've also been trying to focus on self-care and working on my own issues. I've started seeing a therapist to deal with my depression and post-traumatic stress disorder, and I've been trying to find ways to manage my emotions in a healthy way. I've been going to the gym and spending more time outdoors, which has been helpful. Despite all of this, there are still moments where I feel like I can't trust my wife. It's hard to shake the feeling that she betrayed me and that she might do it again. But I'm trying to stay positive and work through these feelings. I love my wife and I want to make things work, but it's going to take time and effort from both of us to heal from this. From my perspective, it seems that both you and your wife were going through some tough times and not communicating effectively with each other. While your wife's actions were wrong and a betrayal of your trust, it's important to recognize that both of you were struggling with your own issues. It's encouraging to hear that your wife has taken responsibility for her actions and is actively working to repair the damage done to your relationship. It's also understandable that you're struggling to move past the betrayal and the images that come to mind. One piece of advice would be to continue with counseling and perhaps consider individual therapy as well. This can help you work through your emotions and develop coping mechanisms for when intrusive thoughts arise. It's also important to continue to communicate openly with your wife and express your feelings in a constructive way. It may take time and effort, but with both of you committed to repairing the relationship and communicating effectively, it is possible to move forward and rebuild trust. Friends, thank you for listening to this story. If you have your thoughts about this story, I would like to hear them. Leave comments under the video. Also, don't forget to support the channel. Like this video and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to turn on the bell. It will help you not to miss new stories on this channel. Thank you for your attention, and I wish everyone success in life. See you soon. Goodbye.